had a little bit of a break at lunch today, or a lull, so I figured I would check in. It's been a hot minute, and so I am coming to you from my office, which is messy. uh, Lots of chaos all around, but it's okay. It is a kind of a gloomy day here in Anchorage. Lots of clouds coverage, and it rained quite a bit, but that's okay. We needed it. We have a lot of forest fires all over the region. Some of them man-made, and some of them from lightning. So we can definitely use the rain. Actually, that's kind of one of the interesting things. Um, a lot of folks don't realize just how vast Alaska is, and just kind of the uh, uniqueness. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're in Alaska. It's always cold. There's snow everywhere." Yeah, no. So if you were to place Alaska over the continental US, it would span from Texas all the way up into Canada. And then from east to west, it would span from the very bottom of Florida all the way over into California and actually kind of go into the ocean. So it is a massive, massive state. We have more coastline in Alaska than the entire continental US. Um, so yeah, and we have some pretty crazy dynamic weather. So in the summer, uh, we have almost 24 hours of daylight. Right, the sun really doesn't set until um, you know midnight, 1 a.m., something like that. Depends on where you are. If you're really, really far north in Ukqiavik, which is formerly Barrow, the sun doesn't go down for months. For July, August, and I think into September is when they start getting nightfall again. But we have a lot of areas that are very dry, and then we get lightning storms, and they cause massive, massive forest fires. So, generally speaking, there are actually more forest fires in Alaska than the rest of the continental U.S. combined. So it's pretty crazy. Um, I think it was 2019 or 18 when the massive fire was happening in California, and and parts of LA had to get evacuated. That was actually a very small fire compared to the fires that we had going on in Alaska and the landmass that was burnt with the Flint River fire. So, but I digress, and this is not a Alaska geography and weather podcast. So, I just kind of wanted to say hi to everyone, and haven't really gotten to do a nice podcast in a while. I'm really only focusing on one project. I kind of needed a break from sock knitting. My hands were getting a little tired of the thin yarn, and then I have another sweater on the needles, and there's just something off with the yarn. I don't know. I don't think it's the dye lot. And I've used it and swatched with it before, but it just isn't. It's rippling in a way, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I changed needles. I looked through all my notes. I didn't change needles. Didn't change anything. So um, I might rip it out, which is kind of a pain because it's to like about here. It's a top down raglan, and it's about here. So what I might do is rip it out, rehank it, and then steam the hank so that it kind of evens it out again, and maybe that will help. I don't know. I kind of look through the yarn. There's no damage. There's nothing there, but I don't. It's just kind of ripply. So whatever. It's okay. Just means I get in it more. But this is the old growth cardigan from Tin Can Knits, and it's a pretty kind of fun construction. It's one of their free patterns. And Tin Can Knits, I actually like how they write their patterns. They're very um, easy and simple to follow. They're not. 16 pages with way too many instructions. I find that if when you get into the 16 to 20 pages where it's so many details, it honestly for me makes it more complicated. And I can't follow them as much because there's too many steps, and occasionally if like the steps overlap, it just confuses me and makes it harder. So I kind of like a simplified pattern. I am a well-seasoned knitter, so I uh, don't need instructions on how to do a long tail cast on or how to do a cable. I just kind of need the pattern in that chart. So, but yeah, um, this is what I have so far. I'm actually almost done. I only have a couple more rows of lace work. And essentially, you're knitting the body. You get to the armhole, you split. I was supposed to actually make the sleeves first, but I didn't want to work on that small of a circumference for the time being. I'll do it when I get there. And I just actually got into the second ball of yarn right here. So um, it's a pretty, it's a fun knit. It's kind of a interesting cardigan, or it's not really a cardigan. It's a, I guess it would be considered a cardigan, but instead of being right here, it actually goes all the way over here, kind of like kimono style, I think is what they call it. And the buttons are along the side. And it has, it's just really has its garter stitch for the ribbing, or it's not really ribbing, the bottom and the cuffs and whatnot. And then you pick up stitches and do the button band. So I'm gonna make this one. This one's um, in Rowan pure wool worsted. My mother-in-law gave this to me when we were in Ohio, and it has a pretty. It's kind of funny. It looks pretty up, from afar. It just looks like a purple, but when you get into it, there's a little bit of tonality and heatheredness in it. So I think this is going to be maybe the girls' Christmas presents. I'm going to make this one's going to be for Emery because her color is purple. I'll make one for Harper and Reagan. I'll just have to find the purple and pink um, yarn that I want. But yeah, this is kind of a fun knit. It's really relaxing. Um, it is back and forth for most of it, and once you do the arms, you get into circular. But I don't mind purling. A lot of people hate it and they wouldn't even do this because it is purling involved, but it doesn't matter. It's good practice and it helps you work on your tension. So it's okay. Uh, you know, it but one of the things I've noticed, and I wasn't paying attention, and I was kind of we went down to Homer this weekend for a friend's wedding, and so I generally get to be passenger princess because my wife gets really, really motion sick if she's not the driver. So generally, she drives the long distances, and then when we have just kind of like around town, I can do that, or I'll do that, and she's fine. But I wasn't quite paying attention, and I have I think I split the stitch right there, and I tinked down. It's harder to see now because I've kind of corrected it, but I tinked down, fixed it, and then I have another one, and I'll put in a photo of it. It's I didn't realize it. I had a knot in the yarn, so and I didn't catch it, and I was knitting. I didn't feel it through my hand, so I am not tinking back that many or ripping out that many rows to fix a knot. I don't care. It's relatively you can't feel it on the inside, so they'll never know. And then once it's washed and blocked, no one will ever know. Who cares? But other than that, this is going to be kind of my main project for now. Um, I might make a little bit of a modification for Harper's and then Reagan, so they're not it's the same sweater, but it's not exactly the same. I was kind of thinking I could maybe do a different, it's like this one's garter. I could do ribbing on the other one, or just throw in something that looks a little different, makes it more unique for each of them. I think they'd like. I am finishing up the swatches for the third lesson of um, the Taming Tension course, and I'm hoping to have that in. Um, I sat it down. I got so tired of doing swatches that I just needed a pause. So I need to finish it up probably here in the next week or so. I've got a couple swatches to do, but I always knit them a couple times so that I'm kind of getting the practice and seeing um, the um, I'm seeing consistent results and seeing the same thing. You know, did I have a variance in one swatch to the other? Um, you don't have to actually knit them multiple times. I just like to. I think it is how I'm going to get the most out of the class, and it's a class you have to pay for, so I want to get the most out of it. So once I send that forward and I get my final packet, I will do a follow up video like I did for the basics and kind of go over and share what the course is about and share my experience with it. I won't show the details of the course because it's their material, but definitely could recommend this course. Just even with not even finishing the third one, it has taught me so much and given me resources that, some of the times when you're talking knitting techniques and improving, it is very hard to find reputable sources. There's a million YouTube and TikTok things out there of like, this is how you purl and this is how you knit. Um, but they don't necessarily have the background of it. And, we hear a lot of the times like, if you're not knitting this way, you're not knitting correctly. That's I've heard that in a couple of TikToks or reels, and no, that's not the case. There's a lot of people that do combination knitting, and people have been like, "Well, you're knitting incorrectly." Well, no, we're not actually. It's just that you don't know what combination knitting is, and you don't have that experience under your belt. So, I try not to l- listen to that type of YouTubers and influencers, I guess it would be this, or educators. So I like the resources that come with the TTKG classes. They teach you how to find more information and really dig into learning more about what you want to do or what you are interested in learning. Um, I connected with a tech editor for my pattern, and I reached out to her like in January, and like I don't know what she wrote me, and I honestly was questioning whether or not I reached out because I was like, I thought I emailed that person and I haven't heard from them. What's going on? No, it was in my inbox. So I wrote her and I said, I'm so sorry that I failed to reply. Uh, and asked, here's what I have. I can send you. Will it work? Will it not work? Do you need me to change anything before I sent it? And I just got a reply. So I'm going to send that in now that I know that I have it in my inbox. And hopefully from there, we'll get my pattern tech edited and get a couple test knit out there for the sake of it. And then I don't necessarily know that it needs to be test knitted. It's not a very complicated pattern, I guess is the best way. And it's not like it's a hat, so it's not a lot of structure. But I do think it'll be good to have it test knitted just to see if um, folks get stumbled on anything or, uh, might have some ideas on how to rephrase things. Because there are some things where it's not technically a stitch that you would find in a stitch dictionary. Because I'm trying to hide the decreases with the cable crossing. And that's not in a stitch dictionary. So, like, I have a little bit of a blurb on what that stitch means, or what that symbol means. And so, like, maybe someone else could recommend some rephrasing on it, and I'm happy to have that. But yeah, so I am gonna get back to work now. Unfortunately, gotta keep moving along. We're 7 days from the end of the year, which means that the chaos of July and August are going to be upon us here shortly, which is always fun. Lots of moving parts, lots of screaming and crying and wanting to run away, but then it goes away after August and we just move on. So, just the nature of the beast for the state, and we get through it every year. So, we'll be okay. And I have a great team. So, I appreciate, having the team and having the support across the department. We have a good mission, and lots of folks are engaged. So, it makes the kicking and screaming and crying a little less painful. It's just too many things to balance at once, but we get through it. So I hope that you are enjoying whatever craft you're working on and whatever fiber is flowing through your fingers. Have a wonderful day, and I will chat with you soon.